Hello, I am Sam, Pop Sam Cam. Welcome back to the Pop Pod for the final episode of this week and maybe the most important episode of all, our Bop or Flop episode, where we go through all of the new music that you need to hear. We have new music from Doja Cat, Ed Sheeran, Selena Gomez, Maroon 5, some you'll love, some you'll hate. We will also love and hate it. For this episode, I've got back my producer, Jono, to help us out going through the Bop or Flop and also chat through some of the news items today. Hello, Jono. How are you going?
Hi, Sam. When you just paused on the maybe, I thought you were about to say maybe the last episode ever, and I was like, no, it's not. Trust me.
This is how I tell you.
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
over. Good to be
Our
here,
1 month
Sam.
run has come to an
Yeah,
end.
that's a classic for me. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's get into the news because there's quite a bit to chat through. The first piece being that Miley Cyrus is teasing another single from Something Beautiful. It's called More to Lose, and it seems to be a ballad. I'm going to play a snippet.
And you said, I wish it wasn't true. No, I knew someday the one would have to choose. I just thought we had more to lose.
This is kind of like moving on from End of the World, which I thought was going to be a massive hit. It's clearly not a massive hit. Miley has always had quite a bit of success with ballads, obviously with songs like Wrecking Ball and also Used to Be Young. So maybe this is a smart move going right into a ballad. She also said that she's releasing songs in the order of the track list, so she didn't have a choice. What do you think?
I actually think the first song I was obsessed with, what was it before End of the World?
Something Beautiful.
Something Beautiful is my favourite. I replayed it about 20 times. It just had the drama that I was after. So I'm really intrigued to see where she goes next with this. But this project is the most excited I've ever been for a Miley project, and I like Miley. So I feel like for pop fans, this is like exactly where she should be. I'm buzzing. What do you think?
I feel the same way, but I feel like we might be a little bit of an anomaly given
True.
what the numbers are doing. I actually just don't think many people know she's releasing an album. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe. But I think this one's for like, she is basically saying like, I'm doing this for as a piece of art, not to chase like a flowers hit, which I really respect, and I think will give her like a lot of credit in the industry, basically.
Well, they always say that when the songs don't do well, but we'll see. Moving on to Lorde, who has announced her album Virgin, which I talked about yesterday on the podcast, but she's given a little bit more context about what this album is about. And the thing that I found particularly interesting is she did an interview with BBC Radio 1 where they asked her whether her involvement in Charli XCX's Girl So Confusing kind of informed the direction that she went with the album. And she had an interesting answer, which I'll play here.
I've been kind of cooking this album up. We were like quite a way into it at that point, but Brat coming out really gave me a kick in a lot of ways. It forced me to further define what I was doing because Charli had so masterfully defined everything about Brat, and I knew that what I was doing was very distinct to that.
So I like this. I like that she was kind of already making this like really raw pop record, and she found something in the Brat world that kind of made her mind deeper, I feel like. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I'm so glad that she chose the title of the album, which was my nickname in high school. Like, I think it's about me. But I'm buzzing. The whole messaging around it makes me intrigued, excited. Like, I can't wait for more. What about you?
I feel the same way. I'm like, I didn't expect the direction to be as hard hitting and raw and like almost like, I don't know if it's angry, but there's a certain like tension to it that I perhaps wasn't expecting even from the first single, What Was That? And she's now come out and said that that is probably the most gentle song on the album. So
Which is crazy.
Everybody who was saying she's reheating the melodrama nachos, like she's about to burn that shit because it sounds like it's going to be very different.
Yeah. I might be seeing Lorde tomorrow. Basically, Popgrave tweeted that there's like a Lorde lookalike competition, which I think is 100% a marketing ploy by Terry and Co. to get people at 5 p.m. in Hyde Park. So I'm going to be there with a bottle of rosé, hoping she turns up. Do you think I'm delusional, or do you think she actually will be there?
I mean, I was waiting for her to come out last night when I saw Charli XCX, which we're going to talk about shortly. But I was sure that she was going to come out and perform What Was That? And then I hyped it up so much that I was almost annoyed at Charli for not doing it. But maybe she didn't do it because she's in London.
She's on the red eye to London for Hyde Park.
She did the BBC Radio 1 interview via FaceTime, though. So wouldn't you think she'd just hop into the studio? I mean, London traffic's bad. Maybe she didn't want to leave the Airbnb. But I'll be very intrigued to hear that. We'll have to get you back on to the podcast on Tuesday.
Stay tuned.
Find out
what
whether
happens.
She came. The next piece of news is that there is a soundtrack coming out which is kind of being described as the Barbie soundtrack for sports movies. It's for a movie called F1, which I had no idea even existed until a couple days ago. It apparently features Brad Pitt, and the soundtrack's been announced, but it's absolutely stacked with like pop and hip hop names. The first single is Don Toliver and Doja Cat with a song called Lose My Mind.
Bounce back when bottles is on me. I'm pushing a new pen, rewriting the story. Hello to my old ways, goodbye to the nosebleeds. You fighting to stay here, you probably the OD.
Which we'll talk about on Bop or Flop.
Yep.
But then they've also got Ed Sheeran, Tate McRae, Rose, RAYE, and then some people that you probably wouldn't care to see on there. But there are some pop bangers on this, and I like that the movie soundtrack has become this like blockbuster occasion again where they're getting all these original pop songs on it. And I think it's because of Barbie, and also Twisters 2 did the same thing last year with like the country soundtrack. So this is cool, I think. I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard a peep about it, but it does sound fun.
Well, you've definitely heard a peep about this because Judas by Lady Gaga is one of the biggest gainers on global Spotify this today, entering the top 100 for the first time at number 97. That's up 33 spots with 1.57 million streams. I feel like this is coming off the back of the shows in Mexico City and also leading up to the Copacabana performance in Brazil this weekend. I mean, I find it so cool that Judas is the song that people are gravitating towards, because I remember when Born This Way came out, and I feel like Judas copped a little slack off the back of Born This Way.
Do you think?
Well, it didn't do that well. Like, I wouldn't consider it to be one of her big singles until now.
No, it's not. And she actually didn't play it at Chromatica Ball, which lots of people were fuming about, and quite a choice. But I'm buzzing. It's so good. When she's like, I cling to... I mean, you just ascend. So I'm buzzing for her. Also,
sing it louder. Sing it with your whole chest.
Look, she is having a fucking great year, and she fucking deserves it. You know, I'm a little monster. But I don't know. I feel like every few years, one of her old songs just comes up and like soars in the charts. And that's because she has quality work. She doesn't just do these like cheap songs chasing hits. Like, she's literally like doing songs that she thinks are good. Tony Bennett said to her, like, quality kid. And like, I actually think she's always done that in her career.
Yeah, it's really testament to the fact that she's made stuff that is so long lasting, given that the moment that Bloody Mary had, and then Judas had, and even like, I think Heavy Metal Lover was having a little bit of a moment on TikTok for a minute. Like, it's cool that this new generation is exploring her music, and they're doing that because they regard her as one of the like foundational artists. Like, I remember when I was growing up and I felt like I had to know Prince and Madonna and Stevie Wonder to like understand the trajectory of pop music, even though I wasn't alive in that time. And I feel like this new generation is doing the same for Lady Gaga, which is cool.
Totally.
The next thing I want to talk about is I went to Charli XCX last night. Which, if you can hear a little bit of vocal fry from me, it's because I was yelling. Once again, this is maybe the 6th Brat show that I've been to. I've seen her in many different capacities. I saw her the day that Brat was released in New York. I've seen her at Coachella. I've seen the Sweat show with Troye Sivan. And then this is my first time seeing the Brat show in an arena fashion. And what stood out the most to me about this show is that it's incredible that she's performing Party for You, which is this really almost niche song that was for the fans 5 years ago when How I'm Feeling Now was released. To see her now performing it in arena with people screaming along, and to know that she hasn't had to compromise at all to get to that position is incredible. And like, even still, she hasn't compromised. She's just the only person on that stage. It's purely just a light show. It's based purely around the strength of her songs, her charisma, and her just magnetic force as a performer. And I think that like there's not many people who can do that. Like, I feel like you get to a certain level and you feel like you need dancers and everything else, theatrics, to go on stage. And she's just stood so confidently in her own aura that I feel like it's just so impressive. Have you seen the Brat show?
Yeah, I have. I haven't seen it 6 times though, so you win. We literally, I
Thank
think
you.
your point on compromise, you need it for the hangover win. I think your point on compromise is actually is such a good point, because basically she's never compromised. And if anything, she's gone a bit too far the other way. Like, she used to say to RAYE, like, I just did stuff that the record label told me not to do and hoped they'd pay for it after, kind of vibe. And like, that's like punk and rock, and like, that's what everyone loves about her. So that's actually a really good point. She's never compromised. I mean, the only time she ever said she did was for Crash era, but I think that was because she was trying to associate it with like her Brat persona. But I still hate that she said that, because we don't need to like neg any previous songs that we had / like classic pop music.
Not even Boom Clap.
No, Boom Clap is camp, and Charlie knows that. And it could be big in Germany one day. So I think like she is killing it. I mean, the fact that you saw her for the 6th time and you said it was an amazing show is a testament to how incredible she is. And yeah, she's never compromised who she is.
Took a couple of drinks to get fired back up for it again, but I could literally see it over and over again, and I might go and see it again this weekend if I can make it happen. So I do love too that she finishes with I Love It, like a song that she wrote when she was 15, and it's not lost on me that she spent an entire career trying to get back to that kind of just like simplicity and just like straight up say exactly what you feel kind of thing. And I know the lyrics of I Love It are silly, but there's something so direct about them and so just uncomplicated, and she's tapped back into that during the Brat era, and I really love that for her. Actually, I think it's like a really cool first full circle moment to see that be the closer. But enough about Brat. Let's get on to Bop or Flop for this week. It is New Music Friday, so we always do our Bop or Flop. I have my Pop Sam Cam's New Music Friday playlist, which I'll drop in the show notes below if you want to see everything I'm listening to this week. But for now, here is a preview of the songs that we feel needed to be discussed the most. Let's start with Don Toliver and Doja Cat's Lose My Mind, which, as we said, is the lead single to the F1 soundtrack, the movie that we just cannot wait to come out. For me, with this song, I'll start.
You start.
Because I feel like you're laughing and you're worrying me. But I just love hearing Doja Cat back in her pop bag. Like, she reminds me of Nicki Minaj in the way that she takes every guest verse so seriously, and there's never any time that she phones it in. Like, a guest verse is always an opportunity for her to steal the spotlight when it comes to Doja Cat, and she absolutely steals the spotlight with this song. Like, her verse is so memorable, and to be honest, I couldn't really tell you anything about the Don Toliver verses because she just comes through with something that's so present and so hard-hitting, but also pop focused, and it just gets me gassed up for her next project, I feel like. What did you think?
I completely agree. Her, literally, when I heard this song, I was like, she's in her Nicki Minaj bag in the best way possible. Even when she does the breath work, like, it sounds like there's urgency and she's like really putting in all the effort. But the biggest thing for me about this song is take away Doja Cat's verse and it's a B-side demo for some random artist and I never want to hear it again. I can't wait for someone to take her verse and remix it into actual good production behind it. Like, the actual song is
I don't think the
Tina.
production's that bad.
It sounds like a demo, Sam. I honestly was quite shocked that she
I
even
don't
jumped
think
on
it
the
sounds
track.
like a demo.
You're just saying that because it's Ryan Tedder. It's actually not very good.
I didn't even look at that, and I didn't. Since when am I Ryan Tedder's biggest fan?
You love Kelly Clarkson. You love Ryan.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
But
Well,
what would you
I'm
give
going
this? A
bop on
bop or
this.
flop? You're giving it a
I'm
bop.
giving it a bop. I feel like it has the potential to be like an All the Stars kind of vibe, which is a song that was also somewhat underwhelming to me on first listens. But
I'm going to make an estimate that you will listen to this song in full once more in your life, and you'll listen to the Doja verse 400 times.
Oh, I think potentially not even once more.
How could you give a song a bop if you're actually only going to listen to 40 seconds?
Because it's a bop. I'm busy. I've got lots of stuff to listen to. I'm just giving it its flowers and moving on. We can't be bogged down in the past. We've got to keep pushing forwards.
I'm in the present, but the present, apart from Doja's section, is terrible. I'm going to give it a flop.
Well, you know who's not in the present? Our next one, which is Ed Sheeran's old phone. Basically, what's happened here is Ed, I believe, was not using a mobile phone for about 10 years, went back, found his old phone, and there were messages on it from, I believe, deceased friends.
Dead friends, yeah.
Dead friends. And I guess photos that he started putting up on an Instagram account. From what I've seen, most of them are with Taylor Swift. And he's written this little ballad about it.
I found my old phone today in a box that I had hidden away. Nostalgia trying to lead me astray.
What did you think of it?
I'm really intrigued to see what you think, because I'm a big fan of Ed Sheeran as a person and maybe as an artist. Like, I respect him. I don't like his voice, and that when you don't like someone's voice, it kind of no, but you know what I mean. Like, it's the same with like Tate McRae. Like, I think she's a great artist, but I don't like her voice, and it kind of ruins the whole vibe if you don't like someone's voice.
Yeah,
and I say
agree
that
with
being like a very nasal, annoying voice person. So like, this isn't coming from the high bar, but this song, I think, to me, actually epitomizes him as a storyteller and is narrative driven. And like, I have an old phone upstairs with like messages that I'm scared to like look at. And so like, I was so enveloped in this story, and like, if anyone else sang this who I liked their voice, this would be one of the songs of the year for me. But unfortunately, I can't deal with his voice. But the song itself is an absolute bop. Like, I think this is what he does best. Storytelling, it's like not cringe storytelling. Like, it's believable. I really believe that he went and looked at his old phone and wrote these lyrics into a song, and it was like really personal to him. And like, that's half of what you need to do as an artist, is like selling believability.
Okay, you've actually kind of turned me around on this.
I knew
with
you would
your
hate
description
this.
of
Yeah,
it.
what do you think?
I hate these kind of songs. Like, hate them. I honestly did not feel the connection that you felt towards it. And I feel like it's in that like used to be young Miley Cyrus like kind of fashion, which is another song that I absolutely cannot stand. I don't always connect with the sentimentality of Ed Sheeran songs, and I connect more so with his like pop bangers, because I think that he's a great pop writer, and I just like, I'm a bit more of a Shape of You kind of person more than I would be a Photographs or like Thinking Out Loud kind of person, which is probably where we differ. But I agree that there's something about this song which is trademark Ed Sheeran, and it's something that it's a brand that he's developed incredibly well, and it's probably the one that people connect to the most. And I feel like people are going to eat this up more than they did Azizam. Will I ever listen to it again? Maybe not, because if I want a song like this, I'm probably more inclined to go to someone like Casey Musgraves, who had like Camera Roll, which did a similar kind of thing, and I just like feel she has a little bit more of a vulnerability. I often feel like Ed Sheeran gets a little caught up in cliches and like has to smooth it out too much for the masses. But in saying that, yeah, if you like Ed Sheeran, you'll like this, I guess.
Yeah, but I totally see your point, but I think not to pull the Dead Parents Club, but anyone in that club will understand what it's like going through an old phone, and you can't say anything about that, Sam. So I'm really sorry.
I understand the concept. I understand the concept. Do not pull the dead parent card on me. I have the ultimate sympathy towards you.
This is my favorite thing to pull on you.
I'm
so
just
you
gonna have
hate...
to give it up now, aren't I?
So you're saying bop or flop?
Well, I was gonna say flop. Now I feel like I have to say bop.
You can say
if anyone
flop,
doesn't
that's
know that
fine.
our relationship, this is going to come off as a very tense situation. But this is nervous laughter. I'm not being.
And I'm not nervous laughing at all. I love making Sam uncomfortable. It's my favorite thing in the world.
He loves it. All right. I'm still going with. I'll go with bop. I'll go with bop because I think it's Ed Sheeran doing what he does best.
Yeah.
Well.
I think even if you don't love it, arguably he is in his pocket with this song. Surely it's a bop.
Next one is Selena Gomez's Talk, also with Benny Blanco.
Yeah.
Off a deluxe edition of I Said I Loved You First, and then I think they added And You Said It Back or something like that to the title.
Poetic.
It's a deluxe edition that has a couple of new tracks. That has a Glorilla feature on Cowboy, one of the songs that was already on it. Talk was previously released as like a digital only bonus track, but now we're getting a music video and some kind of single treatment.
Go recharge your batteries, come back to me and make your mama proud.
I think that this is fun, and I think that there's nothing particularly wrong with it. And what I like that they've done on this album is it's not like predictable, any of the sounds that they've used. In saying that, I don't know if anything totally lands for me, apart from maybe like the Maria's song. And also, I like Sunset Boulevard. And this one, I feel the same kind of way. Like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But for some reason, it's just not igniting a flame within me to get like really excited about it. I'm really interested in what she's doing. So like I'm going like a very light bop on this one.
Okay, interesting. Well, listen, Sam, you're the one who got me onto Selena Gomez. I loved her as an actress. I didn't love her as a singer. I thought she was a bit J-Lo vibes.
You loved her as an actress?
Yeah,
In
I had
what?
the biggest crush on her. We were Wizards of Waverly Place. She was absolutely iconic. She was like one of my girl crushes along with what's the girl from Unfabulous, Emma Roberts. They were my two crushes before I realized that I was a massive homosexual. But literally I love her as an actress. The singing thing I didn't get, and you actually massively turned me around on her. I think when you talked about her, it reminded me of Britney, where she like maybe is not the best vocalist, but she takes risks and she like really like sells what she's doing and like works with different producers and like, so you've turned me around on her. This album didn't really sell anything for me apart from Bluest Flame, but I will say this song, out of all the bop or flops this week I listened to the most. I found it so catchy. I was like,
Really?
yeah, I surprised myself because when I saw Selena, I was like, here we fucking go. It's going to be weird. Like, I'm not going to lie. With the lyrics, I kind of got a semi. I was like, go on, Selena. Maybe I had a crush on her so much when I was younger. It just brought back these memories. But I was into it. So I'm going massive bop. This might be my diamond of the week, potentially, in terms of the biggest bop of the week for me.
Interesting. I mean, looking at what we have coming up, that's not overly hard. But yeah, okay, sure. I mean, maybe I just need to give it a couple more plays, and maybe I'm just feeling lukewarm about this era in general. But you know that I really respect Selena Gomez as an artist and what she was doing with like Good For You and Bad Liar. I do think she is one of the more interesting ones out there, and I do think this album proves that she is the most open to taking risks of many of the main pop stars. I don't know why it's not just like exciting me more.
We
But
thought-
it is a bop. It is a light pop.
We literally thought about this. I remember being so vehement. I was like, she's
Yeah.
not the best artist, blah, blah, blah. And you really backed her. And it worked because I was like, actually, yeah, your argument was true about her taking risks. And it's not always about the best vocalist, etc. But I'm surprised. I think this song's
Thank
really her in her bag. So I think with more listens, you'll be the same as me, maybe.
Okay, I'll go back to it. A song that I probably won't go back to is Maroon 5's Priceless, featuring Lisa.
Baby, you're priceless. I never had anything like this. I'm missing my head on your thighs.
I saw this video last week of Adam Levine saying that he's just like locked in at the moment and he's writing all these songs by himself, like no more co-writers, blah, blah, blah. And everyone in the comments like, yes, back to songs about Jane. And then he releases this song with Lisa. There's like 1 million co-writers on it. It's just Maroon 5 doing exactly what they've been doing for like the last 10 years, which is churning out the most basic, generic pop song. Getting Lisa on it, for what reason, I'm not sure. She literally adds nothing to it other than simply being a name on the song. It is like just pure dribble in like the worst way. This is a flop for me.
This is a flop for me. I do think Lisa does add some kind of spice to the song, but it's very
Well, that's not hard. The song's literally like white
vanilla,
bread.
is it? It's Wonder White bread.
She's
It's
the
literally-
equivalent of getting like 2 grains of salt and dropping it on top of it.
That's a bit too spicy for me. I would need 1 grain of salt. But literally, it's like, I think the song is fine. It's not memorable. I don't think it'll go anywhere apart from just like, I don't know, some basic TV show they'll sell the ad for to play this song. I don't think Lisa does a bad job. I think she does a better job than Maroon 5, but I agree with you that this does nothing. And I didn't realize they sold the whole we won't have collaborations and then this comes out because that makes no sense.
Like, what is the reason for Maroon 5's existence at this point? Really? Like, they really haven't added anything valuable since Girls Like You, which is an absolute banger, and one of Cardi B's best verses, but I will leave it there. Another superstar collaboration for this week, British pop star Mimi Webb teams up with Meghan Trainor for Mind Reader.
I need you to read my mind. I need your attention all the time. Can you keep me satisfied? I need,
You being the one living in Britain, I'll let you take this.
Well, the first thing is where my trainer stainers at, because rise up,
Where are the
trainer
trainer
stainers.
stainers at?
We are here and we're ready to go. I really like Mimi Webb. I liked a couple of her songs. I think she seems fun. I kind of think the Meghan
Good
Trainor,
voice too.
really good voice, true. I think the Meghan Trainor collab kind of makes sense. They both just like have a lot of fun. I know you're going to be really annoyed with me about this, but obviously I love Meghan and I think she's such an underrated artist because she has...
You have a smile on your face like you're being sarcastic.
I'm not. I just know that you're going to literally attack me. I'm a trainer stainer until I die, partly because I've got IBS and partly because I think she's a talented songwriter. But I think I'm going to have to flop this song because my bop or
What a setup. to
my
just
bop or flop
flop.
this week was if I listen to it twice or more, it's a bop. And this is not a bad song, but I didn't go back and listen to it again. So I have to flop it. 'Cause
Okay.
you should want more and want to listen again.
Okay.
What do you
Sure.
think?
I mean, well, I don't really get the reason for putting Meghan Trainor on it. Like, I think that at this point, Mimi Webb's star power is probably just as much as Meghan Trainor's in the UK. Like, what does Meghan Trainor bring? Does she still bring numbers to a song? I don't know. For me, the song is like Sabrina Carpenter Espresso, but make it decaf. Like, it's so just like kind of edgeless and sanded down. I just prefer Mimi Webb when she can belt a little bit more, and I don't think this like kind of like smooth disco vibe works for her at all. And then Meghan just walks in like she's walked into a restaurant and she has no idea why she's there. Like, it's it's just totally aimless, I think, this song. And I just hate pop collaborations like this that have no reason to be.
I think
Raison
the
d'etre,
the
if you will.
raison d'etre. Good French pronunciation. I think the trainers saying us get why it's decaf because we've got IBS and we don't need caffeine. We just want a straight down the line pop song.
That's why she's got 2 toilets in her bathroom.
And I'll be on one of them, holding Meghan's
When her and
hands.
Daryl have the runs.
Exactly. She's doing runs on the songs and runs on the loo. Okay.
You
fair
know I
enough.
love Meghan.
You
I'll
do.
always hold on to the fact she made one good song with Waves, and I'll never forget that. She'll always hold a special place in my heart. This is really the battle of kind of the faceless pop stars for me, because the next one is Dove Cameron with a song called French Girls.
I do it for you. Makes me like one of your French girls.
Being in the US, I'll take this one. She's American, not because of the French Girls title.
Okay.
I just made that very
Wait,
confusing.
wait.
You can tell that I had a few too many tequilas last night at Charli XCX. Dove Cameron. This is what I want to say about this, and people will argue with me on this, but Ava Max gets so much shit as being like the leader of the Kia Asylum or whatever like chronically online term you want to give it. But I have noticed over the past year, more and more people are creating pop music in the blueprint of Sweet But Psycho. And I know that Ava Max is not the first person to do that kind of style. Like, you can go back as far as Madonna to get to that point. But there is a way that Ava Max sings that is like almost this like kind of drawn out, dark, haunting way of singing that so many people have been doing in the last year. And I think weirdly, Ava Max is becoming this like incredibly influential force on pop music, and French Girls is Ava Max coded completely. And I don't think it's bad for that reason, but I certainly wouldn't hear it and be like, oh, that's Dove Cameron. Obviously, it's just like a pretty good pop song that I'll give like a light bop to, but probably won't find myself
You're
returning
giving
to
this
too
song a
much.
bop, Sam. That is ridiculous.
A light bop.
Dove Cameron this is not a pop.
Dovek.
This is a flop. Tina
You
Turner.
love Ava Max.
Yeah, I love Ava Max. Ava Max could pull this song off because she would have the circuit production and, like you say, the voice. Like, she doesn't have the
Okay.
charisma, but she's got the zhuzh
Do
to
we
pull
know
this
who
song.
produced this?
No
have a
idea.
look.
Imagine
It
if it's
is-
Circuit and Ava Max.
Tyler Spry. I don't know who that is.
I'm not sure. I
Um,
think this song,
sure.
it's half baked. The beginning kind of had me hooked. It just went nowhere. And Dove Cameron just didn't give enough.
I'm dying over the French pronunciation of her name. Okay, it's a light bop from me,
Flop.
and it's a pretty heavy flop
Yeah.
from you. The final one, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. It's Katseye's Gnarly. Katseye are a girl group who were formed on a Netflix show called Popstar Academy. They had a pretty big song last year called Touch, and it's been a little while in between drinks. And now they come through with Gnarly.
Hottie, hottie, like a bag of Takis. I'm the shit. I'm the shit.
Tell me what you think.
Okay, why are you making me go first? I find this quite.
Because I'm just interested.
I'm quite confused. Girl, so confused about this song because I didn't watch the show, but I did like
No, me
Touch,
neither.
and I thought it was a really good pop song. And this is the second song I've ever heard of theirs, and I was quite shocked.
Well, they don't have many. to be
Okay,
fair.
fine. But I was quite shocked. Some in a good way, some in a bad way. I think for me, I couldn't tell whether them using the term gnarly was meant to be ironic or they were using that legitimately, because that is a massive barrier for me, because gnarly is one of the lamest words I think you could say to be like cool. Do you think they were using it
I
legit?
think, No, I think it's ironic. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is because one of the songwriters on the song is an artist called Alice Longu Gao, I think is how you pronounce her name. And she's an incredibly experimental kind of underground pop artist.
Okay.
And I feel like that gives it a level of cool where I kind of think the references are more like hyper pop coded than being totally sincere.
Yeah, but
That's my
yeah.
vibe on it.
No, that's fair.
Whether the girls in the group actually know that or not, I'm not sure. But I feel like the intention is meant to be a little on the nose and a little playful.
That's
But at the same time, whether it comes off or not is a separate conversation.
I think a big portion of the song comes off as really good hyperpop and playful, but some of it just doesn't
Yeah.
hit the mark for me. And even when they do the whatever it is, like AI or Apple, where they say gnarly, I'm like, it was funny the first time, but I don't want to hear that every single time I listen to the song. Don't use it again.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm quite confused. I don't think I could give this a flop because I love the risk taking and the experimentalism of it. And I
Me
love
too.
pop girls. Like, they could have just gone middle of the road like Doja Cat, but they literally didn't. They were like going for it. But what do you think? Because it's quite a unique song.
It's totally unique. And the thing that I love about it, and I'm still trying to settle on whether I love it because it's got replay value for me or whether I love it because it's so shocking for a group to do this so early in their career. And I think that so many girl groups over the past couple years have failed to throw anything at the wall that totally sticks. And then they end up playing it safe. And the fact that they're making a move like this as kind of the follow-up single to a song that was way more palatable and way more straight down the line pop, I think is really cool. And I would rather hear them do something like this and maybe miss than follow it up with a song that is not that memorable and just trying to do what everybody else is doing. And for that reason, I think I really love it. I think the Tesla mention in the second line should have completely gone. That is just terribly timed, and they could have whipped that out pretty quickly, I think, for anything else.
Or
that
is
they
it
felt
so
was
camp that it's
gnarly.
amazingly timed? Gnarly,
I mean,
literally.
maybe, but this is now we're going layers and layers and layers into this song where that maybe it hasn't earned that kind of intellectual deep dive yet. But the first time I heard it, I gasped when I heard those first couple lines, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then by the end of it, I was like, I actually think I kind of get this, and the hook was working for me. So I'm giving it a bop. I think if you're going to take a risk like this, and maybe it'll work for some people and maybe it won't.
You know what? You have convinced me. That is a convincing argument. I was on the fence, but I think you're right. They've taken a risk. They could have easily gone middle of the road, and they haven't.
Yeah.
And I think it's 80% there. There's just a couple of bits where I'm like, oh, I can't tell whether this is serious or sarcastic.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to know
I-
that you're giving me a wink, not are you giving me a wink?
And I do worry how this is going to land with the general public, because not everybody is approaching pop music from the way that we are, where we're trying to think about it in many different contexts and make excuses for maybe some of the shortfalls. I don't know if that is going to be the same kind of leniency that's given to it by other people. I'm going to be very interested to see. But also, K-pop fans who I imagine are kind of gravitating to this group, they're open to a little bit more harsher, stranger production. So maybe it will work, I think. I'm adding one in at the end here because I realized that I forgot to put it in the list, but it's Is It Real by Flume and JPEG Mafia off a joint EP called We Live in a Society. And this is the only feature on the EP. It's with Ravyn Lenae. This is the first feature she's given since Love Me Not blew up.
I ain't worried about it, no. But now I'm back and I'm out, yeah. I'm trying to blow a stack, make it better, yeah.
I think personally that this is really cool because I love hearing Ravyn's voice on this kind of more electronic production, which she gave a lot of on her last record, more so than she does on Bird's Eye, the new one. And I think that her voice like really smooths out some of Flume's harsher, kind of more jagged production. And I guess that's how I feel about it. Like, I don't have super strong thoughts on it, but I do love her inclusion in it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like she's a necessary addition to make it like the balancing act of like his harsh production. I kind of, I don't know if I'm just missing it, but like, I feel like Flume hasn't been around for a while, or am I just not around for his songs as much? But like, I feel like,
I think it's been a minute since he's dropped something.
yeah, okay. Because I feel like Ravyn Lenae is like more in the spotlight at the moment than Flume, which is quite crazy if you said that, I don't know, 2 years ago or more. But she's
I
iconic. She
believe
sounds
he
like
had
a
a
good song.
mixtape in 2023. That was the last
Oh, okay.
thing, but there hasn't been like a proper single for a little while, I don't think, apart from a few like production features. But yeah, I agree. Ravyn's the star of this one for sure.
Yeah.
Stream Birds High, if you haven't already. And there is a podcast episode here where I spoke to Ravyn Lenae.
Oh, rub it in. Just you
about the
did,
album.
not me.
You weren't invited. This was before you came and took this podcast to the shitter. We almost forgot another segment to add in. So we're back again from the past to deliver you a segment that is conveniently all about the past. Every week for Bop or Flop, we will each be bringing a song to the table that is from way back that we feel like deserves another spotlight or deserves to be hyped up, and we'll be asking the other person whether they think it's a bop or flop. We don't really have a theme for it, so I guess who wants to go first? Do you have a good one for me?
I'll go
this week?
first. I think mine
Okay.
actually is theme related because
Okay.
I listened to your.
Mine is too, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, can you let me go first so I can actually say it? Mine is related to your Bonnie McKee interview where
Okay.
she came across so well. Listeners, if you haven't listened to it, I actually would really recommend it. She is one of the most influential pop writers of the last 30 years, and she literally was so humble and so nice on the interview.
Incredible.
And she gave away so much. Like, I found it so insightful what she said about even like lyrics that didn't make it, etc. But I'm doing her a bit of disservice because she's leading me into my throwback bop or flop, which is a Katy Perry song, but it's not a Bonnie McKee.
Oh my
Right.
God.
I know. But the context for this is, I think Katy Perry's copying a lot of flack. She needs to be accountable for the wrong she's done, like Dr. Luke, etc. But the pile on the internet for Katy Perry is just like crazy at the moment.
Insane.
And you can literally disagree with people's choices while not like being a horrible bully online. And like, we do bop or flop, like we're saying songs are flops or not as good or whatever, and that's fine. But like, there's such a difference and nuance between like being a bully about someone or like tearing their family apart. So in light of that, I am.
Is this a bop or flop or a TED talk?
Oh, sorry, I know. Basically, my song is Never Really Over by Katy Perry.
Oh,
Guess it's never really over. Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over. And if I think it over, maybe you'll be coming over again. And I'll have to get over you all over again.
Because I think this is. It proves, first of all, she doesn't need Dr. Luke for a hit. And also, it was so underrated at the time. It should have like been one of her biggest hits of her career. What do you think, Sam? I think I know how you feel, but what do you think about this song?
I love this song. It's 100% a bop for me, and it's almost it's already 5 years, almost the 6-year anniversary of this song. And I know this because we were actually all away on a trip at the time that this song came out. We were at Primavera Sound in Barcelona, and I remember we were all sitting around the living room and I had heard this song and I was like, I think that this is such a bop. Katy Perry was coming off the back of the Witness era, so not many people were receptive to hearing new Katy Perry music. And I remember being like, we have to listen to this song. It's so good. And everyone was like, no. And then I played it and it became like the song of the trip. It was that like magnetic. It's a perfect pop song. The fast-paced singing in the chorus is just like chef's kiss. Zed's production is like killer. The whole thing, I just love this song so much. So thank you for bringing it back. It's a bop.
Sorry for my TED talk, but thank you for bringing it back to your attention.
I appreciate your anti-bullying TED talk. I think all the kids listening will really resonate with that. My one is also related to the podcast this week. I swear we haven't spoken about this before and talked about cross-promotional activity, but I, earlier in the week, ranked Beyonce albums, and in doing so, I listened to them all, and I went back on all of them, and there's one song that stuck with me since I did that, and I've kept going back to it, and it is Mine off the self-titled album.
Stop making a big deal out of the little thing, let's get carried away. Come right now, you know where I stay. I just wanna say you're mine, you're mine.
Which I think is just such a good song. Like, it's co-written and produced by Drake, but don't hold that against it. She like adds this like piano, like ballad part at the beginning where she's like contemplating like getting married and like having children and stuff. And then it's just like the most beautifully melancholic love song. I think it's like one of her most underrated songs. I love it.
I totally agree. I think it is. It's an absolute bop. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bop, but it is definitely an underrated Beyonce song. But I wouldn't say it's like my top like 10 Beyonce songs of all time, to be honest.
Okay, that's a pretty high bar though.
True,
I don't
that
know
is
if
a high
it would
bar.
even clear it for me.
Okay, fair. Yeah, maybe I'm looking at neither the Katy Perry song would be the top 10 Katy Perry song for me either. They'd all be Bonnie McGee co-writes.
No,
So,
Never Really Over is top 3 Katy Perry song for me.
yeah, no, actually it is. It's definitely top 5 for me. Anyway, this is a really good Beyonce song. I don't really have much to say about it. I can't wait to see her on the Cowboy Carter tour. The Telephone Part 2 clip has made me like jizz my pants. I'm buzzing.
You think that it's going to happen?
Sam, Gaga confirmed it was happening. She wouldn't lie about
I know,
that.
but like,
It's
really
Act
though?
3. No, it's Act 3 because literally Beyonce has done the clip in the interlude, which shows her like with the film. So it's going to be released with the 3-act film, and she's got the honeybee wig on, and literally the phone rings in it. And Gaga said, yeah, Telephone Part 2 exists. Ask Beyonce when it's going to be released, which means it's on Act 3. I've never been more convinced in my life.
Okay. I think Act 3 is Destiny's Child, so...
I was also convinced, so sure, that Taylor Swift was going to come out week 2 of Coachella for How Bad Do You Want Me remix, that I made one of Harry's friends wake up at 7:30 a.m. to watch it with me, and she never came out. And I was like, so the delusion for me is real.
So believe Jono's rumour mill, I think is what you're saying. Just
It never pans out.
Lock in Telephone Part 2 on Act 3. Thank you for joining me and us for another week of the podcast. Next week, we will have more to deliver in terms of pop news, deep dives, interviews. We've got plenty of cool stuff lined up. If you want to hear anything on the podcast, make sure you DM me and let me know. You can also send me a voice note and we can play it on the podcast and respond to it live. You can also email at thepoppod@popsamcam.com. I'll throw that in the show notes if you want to do that. Otherwise, make sure you're following or subscribe to this podcast. There's been so many of you joining us this week, which is really exciting. There's also plenty of people joining us in the Discord to talk more about pop music. You can literally just surround your entire week with the Pop Pod and never have a point where you have to not be thinking about pop music, which I think is the goal here, to just completely distract you from the outside world. We'll be back next week with more. Thank you so much for joining. Goodbye.